Good morning or good evening, whichever time of the day you're listening to this. I hope you're doing well from wherever you are. Happy March, happy new month. Can you imagine in the third month of 2022? I mean, the year is going so fast. We have to keep up with this pace. Anyway, welcome back to About Life podcast, where we talk about life. We talk about things that happen in and around us, things that affect us, whether consciously or unconsciously, as candid as it gets. And this new month, we have quite some interesting content. We'll be going for a journey, and it's a podcast journey. And in this journey, I want you to think of this child who is hanging on top of a tree and they are stuck. So this child is stuck and hanging on a branch, and the parent is down the tree calling out to the child with their arms stretched wide and telling the child, just let go of the branch, I'll catch you. So if you're this child, you'll agree with me that it won't be your first instinct to let go of the branch simply because your parent is down there waiting to catch you. For some weird reason, you will find it comfortable just to hang on there than letting go. And you'll have to really struggle to let go of that branch and allow your parent to catch you down there. And I believe for some reason in life, we find ourselves comfortable with what is familiar to us. And the thought or entertaining the thought of letting go of that only to find yourself in this completely new environment, it's quite frightening. So I've just been thinking, there are some beliefs and some convictions that we have grown up believing to be true, believing to be right, and we have really clinged to them because they are familiar to us, even though life and experience are suggesting otherwise. So in this podcast series, it will just be exploring some of these beliefs and some of these convictions that were wired in our minds or in our hearts to believe in, which are really not true, and they end up being quite toxic. So I was just thinking about what we talked about in the last episode, adulting and its dynamics. So one thing I didn't really talk about in that episode is that the transition for me into adulthood wasn't quite an easy one. It was quite bumpy. Because I remember initially I thought I had it all figured out. I had planned that from campus I'll do this and do this. Like it was a whole chain, a whole sequence that was quite really well laid out, But now, in my case, when COVID happened, it really disrupted everything. And that whole plan and the layout just became irrelevant. So it made me to really go back to the drawing book and start figuring out where are we going next, what are we going to do, So that phase of my life was quite a difficult one, because now you're there trying to recollect yourself, and things weren't quite working out. And I believe it's not just me, for so many young adults out there, when you're just stepping into this space and trying to accomplish something, trying to do this and do that, you hit quite a lot of dead ends, and quite a number of things that you try out don't really work out, And we have this notion in the society, these two words that people keep telling us when we are going through a rough time. So when life is hard and things are tough, things are not working out, people around us tell us, be strong. I personally have come to realize that the whole mentality around that phrase is all wrong. Why do I say that? I say that because those two words, be strong, have made us believe that you have to do whatever it takes not to break down. Like when you're going through that rough patch, when things are tough, when things are not working out, those two words communicate to our subconscious to try and do everything possible not to break down. I remember even when I was a small kid and maybe we were playing and you happened to fall down and maybe hurt yourself. You will really try as much as possible not to cry, because you want to prove to your friends and you want to prove to the whole world that you're this strong person. And in real sense, you're in pain, you're in agony, but you'll just gather yourself together and bottle it up to show how strong you are. But if you really think about it, that's such a toxic mentality. Because honestly, reality is, whenever we are going through a rough patch, at some point, we all end up breaking down. Be it emotionally, be it physically, be it mentally. At some point, we end up breaking down. So does that make us weak? I don't think so. At some point, we are human and we get tired, we get exhausted. So I personally, when I was trying this and trying that, and they weren't working out, I had moments when I felt like crying. I had moments when I felt like just breaking down. But then there's this voice behind my head telling me, don't be weak, be strong. And I honestly feel that's such a toxic voice, such a toxic mentality. Because as much as we are told to be strong, reality is at some point you will break down, be it emotionally, be it physically, or even mentally. And that's okay. It does not mean you're weak, it just means you're exhausted. I mean, you've been trying this, you've been trying that, and they're not working out. At some point, it is logical and it is human to get tired, and that's okay. If you're in pain and you feel like crying, I say cry. It doesn't make you weak. If you're going through a period of grief, I say cry. People around will tell you, be strong, be strong. What that ends up doing is that unconsciously you'll try to bottle up those emotions in a bid to show the world that you're strong, to show the world that you're not weak. But it's only doing you more harm than good. I say let those emotions out. Just pour them out there. Because that's the reality of the space that you're in that particular moment. So what's my point? My point is, as much as yes, we are supposed to be strong, even strong people get tired, and that doesn't make them weak. They're just exhausted. So you just rest for a while and you get back to it. And that's okay. I mean, even for those who believe in scripture, the Bible tells us, be angry, but do not sin. I mean, even scripture acknowledges the fact that we are emotional beings, and at some point, something will annoy you, and it tells you it's fine, be angry, rant, do all that, but at the end of the day, don't let the sun rise on your anger. Like, the point is, don't remain there at the end of the day. Yes, it's a point of, yes, you're in that space where you're emotionally exhausted or you're physically exhausted. That's okay. Let those emotions out, but don't stay there. After that, get back up and keep going. And I think that's how our mentality and our view of being strong should really be about. Accepting that there will be moments when you'll be exhausted, accepting that there will be moments when you'll need a rest, when you need to let those emotions out, be it emotions of anger, be it emotions of pain, be it emotions of sorrow, whichever it is. Just let them out. Don't bottle them in. Let them out, but don't let them weigh you down. Let them out. After that, get back up and keep going. Don't let the sun rise and set on your anger. Even in the famous story of the Samaritan woman, scripture tells us that Christ had sat down at the well because he was tired. He had had a long day and he was tired. So it's okay to get tired at some point. It doesn't mean you're giving up. It doesn't make you weak. It just makes you human. I really believe that there are so many other beliefs and convictions that you have grown up holding on to and believing that they are the right things to do, but we really need to unlearn them if we are to navigate life in the right way. And so this podcast series will be that journey, a journey where we get to unlearn these things that we have held on to. They are familiar to us, but unconsciously they are quite toxic and we need to let go of them. So feel free to share some of these things that you've unlearned or you think we should unlearn, and let's talk about them. Let's figure it out together. Thanks for listening. Remember to like, share and subscribe. Leave a comment. Till next time, as candid as it gets.